actually read somewhere that Charlestown is one of the most beautiful places you can visit in the United States. I've been to the US several times, lots of family there. My grandfather was a US citizen, but only on the East Coast, for work mainly actually. But I've never been to Charlestown, so if anyone's been there, let me know in the comments.
The mail, sir. One for you and one for Miss Medley.
Thank you, Mom, sir.
So Ori has written to Madeline, and the father doesn't look like he's happy because he must be trying to marry her off to David Carradine's character.
Even though the training at the academy is sometimes merciless, the thought that I'll be here when he gets home helps him through it.
See? It was Ori. I knew it.
Justin Lamotte has written to say he will be here in Charleston on business the first of the month. He asks permission to call on us. I hope you will be as pleased to see Justin as I will.
Yeah, the father is definitely trying to set her up with Justin. So Justin is going through the father to get the daughter, which I presume that time was the right way to do it, because if you got his permission, it was more or less arranged, whether the daughter consented or not, I presume. While Ori is doing it the romantic way, going through the girl.
You hold your saber like a hoe, sir. You parry as though you were scaring crows, Mr.
Yeah, this guy is definitely a bully.
Now you are nothing more than a miserable, clumsy little farmer. I'm supposed to make a soldier out of you. On guard.
Despite this, it just goes to show how outdated the military training and tactics were at the time. So they're also there parading with rifles, yet they're training with sabers. Now, if any of you remember, I think it was Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. The guy comes out with the sword, Indy just pulls a gun and shoots, right, despite all these fancy sword work, which is quite obviously what would happen. So you'd have to question the basics of the training they're getting if they're spending all this time learning how to sword fight when all the others have guns and will just shoot them. And again, that ties into one of the reasons why there was death toll was so high in the American Civil War.
You, sir, are the sorriest excuse for a soldier I have ever seen.
Yeah, this guy is beyond a bully. He's also a sadist, potentially a sociopath.
Let's have you, Mr. Maine.
Well, I presume being a good southern gentleman, Ori's going to know how to wield a sword. Come on, Ori. Give this guy the beating he deserves. Take him down and peg or two. That's it, Ori. Put him on the back foot.
Drummer, sound mess call.
Well done, Ori. Again, a good call by the officer. I like this guy.
Squad! Dismiss!
Question is, though, if the officer sees Bent over and over again doing stuff like this, why doesn't he just remove him from his command?
Oh, his letters were so wonderful. I think they were part of the reason that I fell in love with him. But he doesn't write anymore.
She's in love with him after meeting him once in one letter?
Young men always making promises they never go and keep.
So he stopped writing to her?
Madeline, it seems our guest has arrived early.
And the father's preferred choice of husband is here.
I know it isn't proper, but I took the liberty of bringing you this. I hope you'll accept.
Oh, that was very thoughtful of you, Justin.
So she's going to fall in love with this guy on the rebound because Ori hasn't been writing to her?
How long has it been since you heard from Madeline?
Okay, so he thinks Madeline's not writing to him, and Madeline thinks he's not writing to her. So what's happening to the letters? Is it the father? Because the father wants Madeline to marry Justin? Is it Man Sally?
My pa took a fall from a hayloft, laid him up real bad. They need me to run the farm because there's nobody else.
So I suppose another resentment he's going to have against Ori Main is that Ori would have slaves. So again, it's not a moral resentment he has, more a personal economic resentment. But that is tough if you have to, and I've known that happening to people who've had to give up careers and lives to move back home, look after elderly and infirm parents.
Don't face one another, and that'll take care of your boy's honor code. So if an officer was to ask you if you'd seen one another drinking, that you hadn't seen nothing.
His barkeeper's obviously done this a few times before, but that's a good trick actually. We did that, I think, on our last week of basic training. We snuck out to the local town and got absolutely drunk. And then we had to sneak back in, and there's about 20 of us. I think half the lads got caught. I managed to get back, and one or two others without getting caught. But yeah, they got they got severely punished. even placed guards on our doors because we got out before as well. And our barracks was on a second floor, so we actually had to climb up the windows. Now it was an old stone building. It was a castle going back, well, a former castle. So it was a few hundred years old. So it had these big ledges and kind of jutty out rocks. So you were able to use that to climb up. Yeah, fun times. Wouldn't be able to do that today, I can tell you that much.
I just don't understand why she doesn't answer my letters. Could be 100 reasons. You hardly know her.
Fair point, George. You do hardly know her.
You boys best get going. Just seen a corporal go around to the back door.
Fair play to that civilian for giving them the heads up that they were about to get caught. Come on, lads, get back. Don't let Bent do you over like this.
George.
Oh no, they're going to go back and save this complete dick Bent. Which is the right thing to do, I'm not saying it's not, but given that he's a psycho, he's still going to demerit them and probably get them kicked out.
Hold on, Ben. We'll get you. Take my hand. Right.
It is the right thing to do, but like just knowing Bent, they're going to get no thanks for it. They're just going to get screwed over. And now Ori's probably going to get hypothermia for his trouble as well.
Bent, you can't stay here. Bent, you gotta get back to your barracks. You get pneumonia.
I know. I can make it without any help.
There's the gratitude I expected. Like, what complete dick. Like, he could have at least said, thank you, I know we've had our differences in the past, but you saved my life, so let's bygones be bygones and let's start anew from here. But of course, no. Bent being such a dick goes, screw you, I can do it on my own.
You sound awful, Ori.
And instead, Ori gets pneumonia.
Hazard, Maine, you have both been placed on report, sirs.
And he placed them on report, I knew it.
Bent. He really did report us.
Honestly, the rest of the platoon should grab Bent on the quiet and give him a doing over for that behaviour. That deserves that, to be honest. And do him over and do him over until he pulls that report.
I think I'm very ill, sir.
Well, I think you're a malangerer, man. I think you just want to avoid your assigned duties.
Corporal Ben, I swear.
Permission to report to the infirmary denied.
And now he's going to kill him on top. He's going to make him do guard duty in the freezing cold when the guy got pneumonia saving his life. What a dick.
You are dismissed. Sir.
I was never, unless you haven't figured it out, I wasn't very good at taking instructions from poor NCOs. So yeah, I got myself into a bit of bother a few times like that. But I was a very good shot and a very good soldier otherwise, so that kind of got me through. Plus my quartermasters knew that, who were platoon leaders, knew that the particular two NCOs I was having issues with were complete dicks like Bent. I remember it was 30, which is really hot for Ireland. It wasn't 30, maybe 28, 29 degrees Celsius 1 week during our basic training, and we had these big, heavy, thick wool jumpers. And they made us put it on and then run around the parade ground like consistently in this heat, and people were fainting and dropping, and you just kept doing it and would not stop until one of the platoon leaders, the quartermasters, came out and put a stop to it. Like, similar to Bent, they were just psychos for no reason.
Anyhow, it's better that it turned out this way. Grant and his friends are keeping their eyes on Bent. He's too much of a coward to go up against Grant. He'd rather bully underclassmen.
I never met anybody like him before.
It's called a psychopath, Fisk. And again, fair play to the officer. A good officer, good lieutenant as we call him. What's a lieutenant in the US would sort that out. What I can't understand is why Grant allows Bent to continue in his post. He should be removed and probably not only demoted, potentially expelled. So 18 months later, they must be finished now in West Point.
George, hello!
Come on!
And there's Kirstie Alley. I knew she was in this because I would have been 10 or 11, and I had a crush on Kirstie Alley, and I think obviously not the kid version of Ashton, the actress who plays the older version of Ashton, who we haven't seen yet.
I want you to meet my parents. This is Maud and William Hazard. How do you do?
Now the mother, George's mother, she was in a program I think called Benson. If anyone remembers Benson from the 80s, let me know. Did she play the kind of German waitress or housemaid? Because that's ringing a bell with me.
We forgot to introduce me, Mr. May.
Of course not.
I'm Virgilia Hazard.
Virgilia, that's her character's name. I remember it now. What attracted me to Kirstie Alley was her eyes. She has the most stunning green eyes, very piercing.
Great men like Mr. Garrison keep trying to show Southerners the evil they're doing. And it's our duty to take...
Virgilia! I'm afraid her causes are Virgilia's way of making up for not being born a man.
Don't you patronize me, Stanley Hazard.
This is a really interesting conversation because you kind of have three dynamics going on here. You have Virgilia exerting herself, which is upsetting the brother and is a sign of early feminism. You have the Northern family being more upset that their honour is being slighted by Virgilia's actions than the questions she's asking. And then you have the whole hanging in the air, the moral question of whether, you know, it's right to own other men, which of course it isn't, other men and women and children. Now the interesting thing is, even though the North didn't technically have slaves, a lot of the workers in those mills in those times and those kind of factories would have been treated very badly. They weren't unionised, they didn't have rights. You could be fired at an instant's notice. You couldn't take sick leave. There's no such thing as annual leave. There was a 6-day work week, probably a 12-hour day. They hired kids as well as adults. So were they actually any better? Just because they basically, what I'm trying to say is they basically own these people as well, even though they didn't hold title, official title, like the slave owners did. I suppose the only difference is those people had the right to leave if they wanted and go somewhere else. But could they? Did they have the money? Were they paid enough?
Immigrants mostly. Irish, German, Welsh. A lot more than when I left. I know, they're not much better than your slave quarters, are they?
They're worse.
See my point?
Well, at least our workers have a choice. We don't own them. We don't force them to work here. They can leave whenever they want.
That was also my point.
Well, an empty belly is a pretty good reason to stay.
He is right. Did they have the money to leave? I don't know whether that point came into my head because there's some subconscious part of my brain that remembers this from when I was a kid, or whether it's just occurred naturally. It's hard to tell, to be honest, when you're watching something you've watched before, even if it is 30 years later.
There's a friend I have to see in Charleston before I head home.
So he's going to try and track down Madeline.
Texas belongs to Mexico.
I just hope that Ori and I don't graduate too late to fight it.
They say we'll see action with General Zachary Taylor. Wouldn't that be something?
Okay, so they're potentially going to end up in the... Well, I know what happens, the Mexican-American War.
I can't just sit by and listen to my own brother and a slave owner tell us how eager they are to fight.
So Virgilia's character is basically the embodiment of the abolitionist movement and the movement to free the slaves, which was one, and I know it's not all of the reasons the Civil War happened, but it's one of the reasons the Civil War happened. Actually, the series it's doing it very well, should I say, of having characters represent the different frictions that were going on at the time. You had Fisk representing the people who felt resentment against the South for using slaves for economic reasons. You have Virgilia representing the moral abhorrence against slave ownership. You have Ori representing a good Southern person, I presume, you know, an honourable Southern person who sees it as his way of life, but wants to industrialise and improve and potentially free the slaves. And then you have Justin Lamont, who's the cruel slave owner. So yeah, it's doing quite a good job of bringing all those different elements together. I know it's not the full story, but it's a TV show after all. So Ori's off to find Madeline. Is she married to Justin at this stage? Because she thinks he didn't write to her, and he thinks she didn't write to him. She definitely won't be expecting Ori to turn up at her door.
This is Fabre house.
Yes, sir, but they's all gone now.
Gone where?
Me can't rightly say, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, so they're gone and you just know where to find her. So he went home. What else is he supposed to do? No Google that time to track someone down, or Facebook or Snapchat or whatever.
Son, we've argued this point before. Father, you should have been with me at Hazard Iron. I saw 100 ways to improve Mount Royal.
Okay, so the father doesn't want to industrialise, but Ori does, because Ori sees the future. Particularly after being up north and seeing the Hazard's factory and foundry.
Every year, the South counts for less on a national level because we cling to manual labor.
That's enough, son.
I said I don't wish to discuss it.
Father ain't for moving, which is often the way between father and son. Son sees the future, the father is stuck in his ways.
A good overseer knows how to get a man's respect without beating him, and we don't whip slaves at Mont Royal. So you let Priam go.
Fair play, Ori. And again, the job of overseer must have attracted a lot of socio and psychopaths who could just do what they want, rape, beat, kick, kill, probably even. Yeah.
A wedding whose?
Just in the mud, I wrote you about it.
No, so you didn't. Who's he marrying?
A Creole from New Orleans. Her name is Madeline Fabre.
Oh no, so Madeline did, or is going to marry Justin, because she thought Ori was gone. And can I just ask something off the audience? My understanding of the word Creole and Cajun is Creole was from aristocratic or posh French backgrounds, and Cajun were from lower class French backgrounds. Is that correct? Let me know in the comments, please.
I do.
She doesn't want to marry him. She's doing it for the father. And now she sees Ori.
Then in the sight of God and this company, I pronounce you man and wife.
Poor Ori, she's gone, man. You're gonna have to let her go. Was there even divorce back then? In that part of the States, I don't know. And probably honor wouldn't let you divorce anyway.
My very best wishes, Mrs. Lamont.
That must kill him to say that.
Why did you stop answering my letters?
What? I didn't. You stopped answering mine.
I didn't.
You're gonna find out the father did it. He intercepted their letters, I bet you.
Papa.
Exactly. She finally figured it out.
Been up here half an hour, yeah.
Yeah, she's avoiding you, mate. Yeah, she's definitely not into this guy at all, in any way, shape, or form. Yep, definitely not into him pulling back from his kiss. Something tells me Justin's not the type of guy who's going to take no for an answer.
God, I'll show you what it means to be my wife.
Yeah, there we go, told you. But even though the father had good intentions, it looks like he's put her into a really bad marriage. And there's nothing she can do about it. There's nothing Ori can do about it. Probably won't tell the father either because she doesn't want to break his heart and disappoint him. Because I'm sure he'd be very upset if he knew his daughter was in a marriage like this. Any father would, you know? Any decent father. And she's still pining for poor Ori. Poor Madeline, huh? So he's drinking his sorrows away, and she's crying hers. Okay, folks, that's the end of episode 1 of North and South. What did I think? It's a little bit slower than I remember. I remember it as being more action-packed for some reason. Probably because the kid in me always wanted to be a soldier, and I loved all the military stuff, and therefore that's what sticks out in my mind. I'm not usually into kind of romance stuff and love drama and all of that. I tend to watch more horror, science fiction, action, stuff like that, and a lot of independent films. But this actually I could put up with, believe it or not. And I think it's because more of my fondness for this show in my heart and in my memories than it is for the actual love interest piece. But the story was interesting. Obviously, Ori trying to be with Madeline, Madeline wanting to be with Ori, father intercepting the letters and marrying her off to the guy he thought would provide a better future, and of course that's not turning out to be the case. It's also interesting, I thought in the episode, and I've spoken about it already, how each of the characters in a way embodies an element of what led up to the Civil War, and I'm sure there's going to be more of that as the series develops. We're only basically establishing the societies at this stage. We're not even talking about the Civil War itself. So you have Ashton, who's cruel. You have Brett, who's good, the two young sisters. You have Ori, who's a good, honourable Southern gentleman and doesn't like cruelty to the slaves. You have Fisk, as I spoke about, who's suffering in the north. His family's business is suffering because they can't compete with the southern plantations because they have to pay for their labour. You have the Hazards, who have their foundry, and the question mark, do they treat their workers, who are mainly immigrants, any better than the slaves? And actually Ori pointed out they probably treat them worse. Their quarters were worse. their living conditions were worse and they only stayed because they needed money for food. So while George pointed out they could run away, Ori pointed out, yeah, but they don't have the money to. So are they in any better condition? So it's also looking at in those times, a lot of the cruel factory owners. You also have, I suppose, George's family, where honour and respect are more important than the moral questions which were being raised by Virgilia. And of course, Virgilia embodies the whole abolitionist movement and the moral question of slavery, and she's voicing those and also voicing feminism. And we can see that honour plays a big part on both sides. You had the two guys saving Bent because honour required it, even though Bent was going to screw them over. You have Bent, who has no honour, and he's, I think, deliberately there to show someone with no honour, to contrast with the honour that everyone else has. That respect is above all the key thing: your name, your reputation, your honour. You have Justin, who's the cruel plantation owner. We haven't seen very many of the slave characters yet, other than Mam Sally, who's a freed slave and a free woman. But I do remember that they do come into it. I do. Don't ask me which ones, I can't remember that. But I do remember the slave characters do get more prominence as the series develops, and I also know there is more military action as the series goes on. Obviously, it's building up these two characters representing, and their families and various members of the family, as I said, representing the various elements that led up to the Civil War. So we'll see that tension, I presume, rise over time. We'll hear the voice of the slaves, and then we'll get the actual war itself, and I suppose how it divided America, using these two families as an example, who are on either sides of the conflict and of the border. So yeah, I did enjoy it. Is it as enjoyable as I remember? Not quite, because I remember more action, as I said. But would I rate it badly? Absolutely not. It kept me interested. The story I thought was good. The acting I thought was good. The characters have interesting arcs that I want to see develop, and I want to find out what happens next with them. The scenery and the budget for the time and the cinematography are decent. I'm not going to say they're wonderful because obviously age, it hasn't kept up. But looking at it in its time period, it was top notch, and I remember that as a kid looking at it on TV and going, wow, you know. So yeah, am I going to watch episode 2? Absolutely. I want to find out what happens next, and I want to see how the story continues to grow. And that's only my impression after the first episode. I could grow to love it more or like it less as the series goes on. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, what you thought if you've seen it originally. And if you've seen it for the first time, what you thought of the first episode. If you did see it originally, do you agree with me that it is... Well, what's your thoughts? Do you think it's better or worse than you remember it? And do you want to still keep watching it to see what happens later? Hopefully you do, and you'll join me on this journey. But anyway, guys, that's it from me. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You know yourself, it helps the young channel like mine grow, because I'm literally 3 videos into this. And yeah, I'll see you for the next video. If you haven't checked them out already, I'm going to leave links here. I'm also reacting to V, the original series, and Buck Rogers in the 25th century. So take care of yourselves, and until next time, bye for now.